Who in your life leads by example, either for or against? Hi, I'm Sierra with Painted Porch Strategies, and this is something that I've been thinking about. People that are in your life, even for a very short amount of time, often lead by example, for or against. Let me explain. Sometimes someone in your life is really fantastic, and you think to yourself, I want to be like that. I want to emulate that. I want to be that type of a person or embody that type of a characteristic. For example, for me, the person who really led by example was my mom. Now, I was lucky enough to have an awesome mom who was really cool, who was really involved, was very loving and very kind, and treated me with a lot of respect. And even as a small child, I remember thinking, that is exactly the kind of mom that I want to be. And, well, I always think about what would my mom do in this sort of a situation now that I'm a mom. Now, on the flip side, sometimes a person in your life serves a purpose by showing you an example of what you do not want to be. Example that I have from my own life, I had a boss that was not a great boss, and everybody on the team would agree. This was a boss who did not want to listen to the feedback that was given, didn't really think of things as a team, kind of led as a dictator, and was not really very kind to his team, didn't really listen to his team. It was kind of his way or the highway. And even though I was very young at the time that I had this boss at this job, I knew that that was not the type of a boss that I ever wanted to be. Somebody who didn't listen to the people on their team. Honestly, I saw that it did not work for the team, and it didn't make me feel very good or valued as a team member. So I made sure when I was a boss that I did not do that, that I was very careful to check myself, that I was not leading via dictatorship, that I was not bulldozing, that I was listening to my teammates. That was an example of a person that led by example of how I did not want to, led against the example. So it's important as you reflect on people in your life that have somehow served as an example. And sometimes it's not them as a person as a whole, but in aspects. So if there's a person that you really respect a certain aspect, think about how that person does it, the qualities that that person does it, the language that that person uses, or the body language that that person uses. And then when you want to use that as an example to lead by, picture that person in your mind. Ask yourself, what would that person do? For me, what would my mom do? And then on the flip side, when somebody has served as an example of something that you do not want to do, or a characteristic trait that you do not want to copy, this is where it gets sticky. Sometimes, especially if that's a person we spent a lot of time with, sometimes those traits wear off on us, even if they're negative. And sometimes when we are stressed or not having the best day, we can slip into that simply because we got used to seeing that example. This is when we need to check ourselves and say, am I doing the exact same thing that I found to not be effective or to not be the type of person that I want to be? In that instance, I would say, am I doing the same thing that that boss did? Am I not taking the time to value my team members? Now, an idea is you could put the names or a picture of both of these examples in a place where you could see them, if you found that to be helpful, or you could just use it as a reminder. Who is leading by example, either for or against? When we take the time to evaluate what character traits we want to embody and which character traits we want to discard, we live a more intentional life. We live a more of a life on purpose. I hope this helps give you some food for thought. Think about what you want to embody and what you want to discard. And see if there is a totem, an example, a person that for you can immediately, in the snap of a finger or looking at a picture or saying that person's name in your head, can bring you right into that place to help you steer your ship. If nobody comes to mind, maybe it's time to find a great mentor that you can really set as an example and ask that person, you are very successful at XYZ. How do you do it? Tell me your process. That way you can study it. That way you can examine it and see how it is you can break it down to emulate that trait. Living intentionally, living mindfully, and learning from not only your mistakes, but others' mistakes can save a whole lot of time. I hope this is helpful to you. If you want some more content about radical mindfulness, feel free to message me or join us on paintedporchstrategies.com. I'd love to hear from you. And in the comments, if you've got some great examples of people that lead by or against, let me know. You can keep it anonymous if you just want to use a pseudonym too. I won't tell. Namaste.